You know, it's really hard being a Pokemon fan when you hate literally every Pokemon besides Volcarona and Donphan. I mean, I really wish I could just make a team of just 6 of those, but here we are. What was that? Gen 9? Y'all wanna see a fucking team? Top of the ladder, meta breaking shit? Well, say hello to this absolute piece of art. I call it Girls' Night. Let's find out how well we can do with it on the OU ladder. Okay, before we go any further, let's curb expectations here a little bit. We're not getting to top of the ladder with this nonsense. Hell, we're not making it to 1500 on the ladder with this nonsense. But we can maybe, definitely, probably break out of low ladder hell, so that's the goal. 1250 elo. That's like doable, right? Let's break down the team, starting with the Pokemon that actually wins 99% of our games, Volcarona. Now, is Volcarona a good Pokemon? Yeah, I guess. Is it absolutely busted broken? No, not really. But does it steal games out of nowhere because people don't know how to play around setup sweepers? Abso-fucking-lutely it does. Seriously, I cannot stress enough how poorly people play around this Pokemon. Like, if the Pokemon you're currently using can't stop Volcarona from setting up and your entire team falls to a single Quiver Dance, stop going for KOs with that Pokemon. Volcarona is going to switch in for free and you're just going to lose. Like, switch out, plan ahead, do anything else. Unfortunately, sometimes our opponents have at least half a brain cell and play around the easy switch in after a KO. So we do also have to play the game sometimes ourselves. Ideally, we do just Terastallize into a ground type. Suddenly we're able to tank a Corviknight Brave Bird or a Stone Edge. Usually a good read with Terastallization is enough to win us the game. If that doesn't pan out, Iron Treads and Slitherwing are both on pivot moves, which lets us sneak Volcarona out against mons that can't necessarily stop the setup. Even more rarely, Volcarona sometimes gets KO'd, or even worse, checked by multiple mons on the opponent's team. Side note, if you use Clodsire with Unaware instead of Water Absorb, I know where you live and I am coming to get you. In those cases, we do actually have a somewhat functional team to help us get through those dark times. Slitherwing has a surprisingly good bulk and special defense, and coupled with First Impression and U-Turn, can clutch out a lot of games for us. Great Tusk has absolutely absurd bulk and can eat physical attacks for days. If my opponent has run out of their special attackers and I still have a healthy Great Tusk, it's a super easy game from then on. Iron Moth has really solid speed, coverage, and special attack to help clean up games, and Iron Treads is also on the team, I guess. Honestly, Iron Treads unfortunately ends up being an easy sacrifice most of the time to let me switch into Volcarona for free. He doesn't have much of a niche beyond setting up rocks if he gets the chance and pivoting with Volt Switch. You'll notice I haven't mentioned Donphan yet at all. I'll come back to him later, but for now, let's go see what you all came here to see. Volcarona dancing 3 times and sweeping entire fucking teams. But wait, I hear you say, surely this team can't beat Stall. And I'm here to tell you that if the player is kind of dog shit, maybe it can. Run the tape. This game is a pretty good example of how the team works, and shows it playing into stall, which it can maybe definitely beat probably. So here's the play-by-play. I open with Slitherwing into their Garganacl, and my opponent makes a not great choice of letting me close combat for most of its health. I know they're going to have to switch out, so I U-turn and bring out Iron Moth against their Amoonguss, which I then swap out for Slowking. We trade hits before we both swap out again, and I am more than happy to let Iron Treads get spored. Sorry buddy, it's gotta be someone. Seeing a chance, I go to Volcarona to start setting up, and I get super lucky as Great Tusk burns itself off Volcarona's flame body. After sacking Garganacl to my bug, Baxcalibur comes out. If you play enough, you can definitely feel when your opponent is about to terastallize, and I correctly called that they were about to Terra Baxcalibur to resist fire. So I went for a Bug Buzz, and somehow that still didn't KO? Volcarona goes down, and we pivot around for a little bit, trying to get a good position. I land on my feet first and start setting up Great Tusk, so my opponent sends out Amoonguss, and I can only assume misclick Spore. This ain't VGC, buddy, you only get one sleep. Take it or leave it. Anyway, they clear Smog away my stat changes, so we both start pivoting around again. I bring out my Iron Moth, and my opponent wrongfully assumes their Great Tusk can tank a resisted Sludge Wave, but they fail to consider that Great Tusk has the special defense of a Wet Paper Towel and goes down from the burn damage. I then immediately make the same mistake against their Hydreigon, and we're back to pivoting around for positioning. My Iron Moth fires off a series of energy balls into Slowking as it heals off the damage, and my opponent fires back with 2 Surfs to KO the Moth and leave Slowking on 3 HP that it will simply regenerate back later. I switch into Iron Treads and I start trying to get through the sleep turns so I can set up my own Stealth Rocks and rapid spin away the ones on our side. Sensing its uselessness, my opponent makes it clear they have absolutely no intention of using Spore on Iron Treads again this game. So I pull the old 1-2 switcheroo on them, and I swap to Slitherwing, and then immediately back to Iron Tread so it catches the Spore. From there, I just switch back and forth between the two, using First Impression and U-turn to finish the job on Amoonguss, switching out finally into Donphan for the first time this game, as my opponent sends out Slowking. Okay, quick break from the battle for a second, we need to talk about the elephant in the room. The one shaped like a tire, yeah, that one. You may have noticed a certain weakness in our team that I may have slightly neglected to mention until now, and it's the fact that 5 out of 6 Pokemon take super effective damage from water types, and there's this unauthorized fucking thing going around OU nowadays. Donphan is the solution, and here's why. Endeavor and Ice Shard, baby! That's right, we're using Fear strats in the year of our Lord 2023, and people are actually falling for it. Anyway, from there, Slitherwing easily First Impressions Hydreigon to win the game, proving that we can technically beat stall teams. Genuinely, Donphan saved so many lost games, it's always so clutch. Definitely stopped working so well the higher we went on the ladder since people actually start reading the information available to them, but until that point, was a hell of a drug. Would recommend, would do again. So sure, the team tends to fold to water types, but what if I told you that one of the highest rated games I played on the way to 1250 was against a team with not 2, not 3, but 4 whole water types? And that in it, Donphan gets a KO without using Endeavor? It's more likely than you'd think. I mean, sure, I Volt Switch a Pelipper for 70% of its HP on the first turn, and I get a free First Impression on a Slowking, so it's not like I'm playing against a pro by any means. I sack Iron Tread into a Terastallized Floatzel, then let my Iron Moth eat 3 whole Draco Meteors. So on paper I'm not winning this battle, but I know I'm positioned to win it from here. I switch into Slitherwing, and my mans goes for a 4th Draco Meteor in a row, which my boy easily tanks. I heal, then U-turn, killing their Pelipper in the process and switching to Great Tusk. My opponent foolishly thinks he can one-shot my Great Tusk, but I know he can take it if I Terastallize, which I do, and I finish off the Floatzel with a Body Press. Dragapult is back, and what a surprise, goes for Draco Meteor, which of course does the job. It's time to get our favourite bug dancing, and as Dragapult misses a Draco Meteor, we Quiver Dance twice and tank another Draco Meteor. Dragapult is swapped out for Rotom Wash while we get our 3rd Quiver Dance and promptly annihilate the washing machine with a Bug Buzz. Baxcalibur comes in and somehow, for the 2nd time this video, tanks a Bug Buzz and nearly one-shots Volcarona, so now it's down to Slitherwing, who finishes the job with a First Impression. Only Dragapult left, and we switch into Donphan to take a Draco Meteor to the face, activating Sturdy and going to 1 HP. If you've been paying attention, you know exactly what's coming next. Obviously choice spect, Dragapult has used all 8 of its Draco Meteors, and Donphan uses Ice Shard to put it just barely under the 25% health mark, letting it struggle and giving us the win off the recoil. So, In the end, what elo did the team make it to? Well, we were able to break out of low ladder hell with a peak elo of 1287, so not bad. I'm really looking forward to playing this team more and climbing the ladder too, and Volcarona just got banned because it steals wins out of nowhere. Yep, fair enough.